So, the Insurgency Sandstorm beta has finally been publicly released to all pre-order buyers, and I've played a few rounds of the co-op to see if the hype was real, and I'm sad to report that I currently have mixed feelings on this game. I do understand that this is a beta, so things are likely to change before and after final release even, so these feelings are not by any means final. I want to go ahead and let everyone know the best parts and improvements Sandstorm delivers over previous iterations of Insurgency before we get into the doom and gloom though. Insurgency Sandstorm boasts one of the finest audio mixes in video games I've heard in a long time. I used to be blown away by Battlefield Bad Company and their superb sound mixing that had indoor gunfire reverbing and high caliber sniper rifle shots echoing off of nearby mountains. Insurgency kinda surpasses Battlefield's in many categories here. Just like in Battlefield, sounds will differ depending on location, but in Sandstorm you can even more effectively use this to track down your targets. Everything from NPC voices to gunfire will reverb and echo accurately throughout the environment and naturally lead you to look in the right direction of enemies. Even gunfire and footsteps above you in a house are different and directional as well. Even Rainbow Six Siege struggles to get this level of audio engineering down. This game really is a reason to own a surround sound headset. Even cooler is the addition of an auditory taunt command that you can use that will let your soldier mock the surrounding enemies. This can be used to lure someone close into your trap, or in co-op to anger the bots that will shout back, thus revealing their positions. This can be used to lure someone close into your traps, or in co-op to anger the bots that will shout back, thus revealing their positions to you. This is all very cool stuff to me, and these little details make going back to the original Insurgency very difficult. Do keep in mind, however, that some weapon sounds might not be as impactful or bass heavy as some of the really well put together modded sound packs for Insurgency. But when it comes to looking at the sounds from an audio production angle, it's pretty solid work that amplifies the gameplay. And you will have a panic attack every time you hear a cell phone after playing Sandstorm, trust me. Explosion sounds caused by IEDs and RPGs are no joke. They command the soundscape and force everyone to pay attention to the devastation as they shake the earth beneath you. Even quiet drones can fly overhead and drop IEDs on top of you without you even realizing it. The cars that both factions can use also have a great guttural sound to their engines as they roll up right beside the house you're defending and have their back-mounted machine guns firing into the walls. Fun fact, you can actually lean out of the passenger seats of these cars while you're doing little drive-bys. Sadly, I didn't really get any footage of this happening, but it's really cool, trust me. Another neat feature is the ability to grind and save up points to customize the appearance of your character model in all of the multiplayer modes as the insurgents or security forces. I've always appreciated character customization if it's not littered with microtransactions, and at the moment there seems to be plenty of items to unlock in the base game. I love this because I finally have another compelling reason to grind through some of these co-op matches for hours on end. The weapon customization and loadout system from Insurgency also makes a return here and works largely the same, although there is a new addition to your loadout in the form of gas mask that you can put on for the gas strikes. And that leads into the Radio Man class coming to Sandstorm from the other game New World Interactive has worked on called Day of Infamy. In Day of Infamy, an officer and Radio Man were required to request supplies as well as multiple forms of artillery and aerial bombing support. This system is integrated fairly smoothly into Sandstorm as it works largely the same, so if you're a radio man, stick with the leader and call in some deadly strikes together. I also enjoyed the smoothness to the gunplay and movement system for the most part. While there were some moments where I just couldn't get my character to hop into a window because they were too busy sliding around the edges of it, most of the time everything connects really well and vaulting makes sense. Even corner peeking is less rigid this time around, although I do believe that there isn't any kind of incremental leaning system like there was in Rainbow Six 3 Raven Shield. Still, the movement works really well and aids to the better flow of combat. While talking about the flow of combat, I think it's important to mention recoil. Just because this game appears faster doesn't mean that your marksmanship skills from Insurgency are no longer relevant. Most weapons have a hard kick unless you keep your mouse moving down while firing. This is not Call of Duty, and knowing your weapon and how they will operate will save your life. Even the caliber is important due to the emphasis on bullet penetration in this game. There was bullet penetration through certain objects in Insurgency, but they seem to have upgraded that system in Sandstorm. I found myself being shot through drywall and fences often and would also fire back if panicked. Things get pretty immersive when you're taking suppressing fire and you see bullet holes spreading all around you when you're in cover. All in all, this system looks a lot like the weapon system being designed for the game Ready or Not, another Unreal Engine 4 tactical shooter in the works. The bots in co-op mostly seem well implemented, and they kind of remind me of Insurgency's bots in a lot of ways. When they're not doing something silly or playing bizarre animations, they do have their moments of brilliance. I've run into enemies laying prone in ambush inside of an objective building with a bipoded LMG. I've had them flank me and suppress me while moving in. I've also had enemy cars pulling up and start suppressing firing the buildings that we're defending as well, and just hitting people through the walls. It's insanity. Some of this could just be a happy accident in programming, but so far the bots have been really fun to go up against, which was one of my biggest concerns as a more PvE-focused Insurgency player. The work that's gone into Sandstorm's environments are mostly a huge improvement from Insurgency. Interiors have way more detail and items cluttered about them, and doors can even be ran through or blown up to gain entry to a room. Even the outside environments have many more natural hills and valleys built into the map surrounding the many towns and villages you fight in. And what makes this whole game even more awesome is that you start your rounds of PvE in the back of vehicles with your squad mates and are dropped off at the starting points of maps, and from there you get to work your way inside. This is a massive improvement over Day of Infamy and Insurgency, where you always started your rounds off by standing in one spot and looking around as your teammates are leaning left and right and doing all sorts of shenanigans. Alright, so now let's dive all up into that bad stuff. So, thankfully many of my gripes are not with the gameplay or systems themselves, as they all feel like a natural advancement on the Insurgency formula. And again, I do know this is a beta, so I hope things are fixed. So, currently, players have a lot of latency and seem to teleport around a lot, especially when spectating them, leading me to believe that there's some sort of janky netcode in this game. I've had numerous texture bugs and even a transparent Molotov cocktail at one point. I've also seen other users' screenshots of their player models missing their torsos. Also, at one point I think my female character also had a male voice, which kind of threw me for a loop as well, because I didn't know if the game had lost my customization saves or what happened. Lastly, and most importantly, the optimization is garbage at the moment. Almost everyone I've talked to in-game was experiencing PUBG levels of unoptimized gameplay. Even a person with a 1080 Ti was complaining that they were only getting over 60 FPS consistently, with all these graphical settings lowered all the way down. I know this sort of issue can be fixed over time, and this all varies based on what rig you have, but I have a Ryzen 7 1700X and GTX 970, and I cannot hit the 60 FPS mark, even lowering the game to its lowest settings and putting it on 720p. So overall, I would recommend this game to anyone who is a huge fan of Insurgency, but with some strong caveats. See, first, at the moment this game will likely not run well for you. Second, there's no campaign and it's multiplayer only. And third, it's still very buggy in its current state. If you're willing to look past all of those things, then Insurgency Sandstorm is capable of delivering you a very compelling tactical shooter with modern gunplay, animations, sounds, and design that takes what Insurgency did and makes it work even better. I had a lot of fun playing this beta online the other day, and I've had some really cool moments, including, you know, getting in the back of a car and gunning down people and stuff. And then there's also moments where we had, you know, enemy vehicles pull up on us, and I had the RPG and had to go take those out. I've seen other people taking out, like, airborne helicopters with RPGs and stuff. It's all very, very fun and very intense. The sound design, the atmosphere, everything about Sandstorm is a huge improvement over Insurgency in a lot of ways. However, like I said, there's just a ton of jankiness to this game, and there's a lot of issues that need to be sorted out before launch. And in my humble opinion, I think this game could use a little bit more time in the oven, as I think New World Interactive are very good intentioned developers. However, only a month doesn't seem like enough time to fix the game in its current state. I think it's going to take a little bit longer. Now, if they want to push the game back, honestly, as a community member, I would be happy for them to do that, because when this game comes out, like, what little I have played has been brilliant. It's been so much fun. but if they just bring it out and it's polished and it runs well for everybody, then that would be great. If it comes out as it is now, I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed. A lot of people are going to refund their game. I've already seen a lot of people doing that on Steam already. So I just think this game needs a little bit more time in the oven to kind of be improved upon. All right, so if you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to leave it a like. And if you want to have more Insurgency Sandstorm news and videos in the future, please let me know, and subscribe if you'd like to see that. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace out.